Alright, did you know that since the Equal Pay Act of 1963 was signed, the closing of the wage gap has been between men and women has been a half a penny a year. Women are now half of the workforce, and families are relying on them as a primary breadwinner. With the economy being as it is, a secondary income makes the ends meet. 50 years after EPA's goal of bringing equality in pay between men and women in comparable jobs has not been accomplished. A lack of the change of the wage gap then and now, acts that have been passed by government to fix the problem, and what businesses can do to help, and how this affects the society is what my main points of my speech are going to be. For a comparison, in 1963, when the Equal Pay Act was passed, women earned 59 cents for every dollar that men earned. According to the U.S. Census Bureau in 2013, women who worked full-time earned on average only 78 cents for every dollar men earned. It was worse for African American women, who earned only 64 cents, and Latinas, who only earned 56 cents. New reports say that women entering the workforce are earning 90% of what men make, but when they climb the ladder, even with an education, the wage gap reappears. Government pushed to fix pay inequity and has done so by passing acts to help remedy the situation. Equal Pay Act was the first solution to provide equal pay for equal work for men and women. According to the EEOC.gov, the EPA states that employers may not provide unequal wages to men and women who perform jobs that require substantially equal skill, effort, and responsibility. Government has stated affirmative action should be used to make sure women have equality in the workplace. Even though the Equal Pay Act and affirmative action were set in place by government, there's no definite way of enforcing it. To further the rights of all citizens, the Civil Rights Act, with focus on Title VII, was passed in 1964. Its focus was to eliminate discrimination in hiring, firing, promotions, and wages. It eliminated segregated hiring based on sex. Prior to this, businesses still placed help-wanted ads based on gender. In 2009, the Lilly Ledbetter Act was passed. It was to expand the time frame to file claims with the EEOC for wage discrimination. Employees at this time did not know and did not discuss other people's wages. The act was important because it overturned 40 years of policies and precedents on statutes of limitations in discrimination cases. For the last 15 years, the Paycheck Fairness Act has been in the process of being passed. Its purpose is to provides remedies for, enforcement of, and exceptions to prohibitions against sex discrimination in the payment of wages. It also includes that businesses cannot retaliate on the basis of employees discussing wages so that others know what they are making. Businesses and women themselves can make contributions to help close the wage gap. Job evaluation systems, audits on HR to make sure that a pattern of discrimination, whether intended or unintended, are not in the presence. Companies can also shift focus to output rather than hours put in, and give flexibility in the hours. With technology now, people are allowed to work from home, which allows for more flexibility. Women can help by continuing their education and negotiating their compensation. Women now outnumber men with college degrees, especially in law, medicine, and business. But they are still not making as much as men. According to the article, The Long-Term Gender Gap, research has proven that when women get their education, they grow into higher jobs. Then the lower jobs are not getting filled by women. This drives the demand for the labor force for the lower jobs and allows those jobs to get higher pay rates. Understanding that the wage gap affects more than just women's pay and that it is causing issues in society is very important. Lower pay rates for women affect where they live, their children's education, their child care, even their children's nutrition. Single women, whether divorced, widowed, or never married, live in poverty conditions, especially when children are involved. In fact, according to the article mentioned earlier, half of women retire alone and share a high poverty rate of 20%. With the rate of just a half a penny a year increase, it will be 2058 before the wage gap is closed. But with help with the government passing and enforcing acts on wage discrimination, the help of businesses, and men and women workers uniting for equity, the wage gap could be eliminated much faster. Understanding that the gap affects the entire society and that limiting women's wages has an impact on their family, including their children, our future, you can understand the importance of closing this gap. It is a fact that even after children leave home, women cannot make up the loss in lifetime earnings, which leads to poverty in elderly because they cannot save for retirement.
This is true. Very nice.